Hi, hello, g'day, kia ora, welcome to the studio. I'm Paula from Moxy Mojo, and today is prompt 7 for Junk Journal January for 2024. Thank you for joining me for today's prompts. And the prompt is stitched. Now, we've got the plastic bag out again, so that means we're going to get a bit mucky. But it also means that I may kind of have a plan, at least starting out with. Where it goes once we start is a whole other kettle of fish. Right, so what I've done is I've put plastic bags underneath my pages to protect them. Now this is the page I'm working on, but once again I don't mind if my colour strays onto the next page, because that will just go into tomorrow's prompt. What I'm starting off with is Pebeo Colorex, and it is a brilliant watercolour in 34, which is sepia. So not sure how this is going to go on the acrylic paper. I can't say I've tried it, but hey, this wouldn't be the first time we've experimented. So let's jump right in, and I'm pulling some colour of the ink into the squeezy, nozzly, whatever you call it thingy, and I am just going to drop randomly on this page. Alright, whoops, that was a big one. And now we're going to spritz some water, which hopefully won't go everywhere, but probably will. And I think I need, before it tips everywhere, another plastic bag. Luckily I have some here. If I can reach them, I need a big enough one. They're all coming out with the little ones. I don't want the little ones. I mean, seriously, where are they all hiding? When you want a little one, you can't find them. When you want a big one, you can't find them either. Right, so hopefully that hasn't, it has. It's got ink on the edge of that plastic bag. Right, so, ooh, now we're getting some interesting colours happening in there. And that it's almost got like dark, really dark pictures in there. So let's just spritz some more on here to spread it about. As I said, I don't mind if it goes onto this other page. Just don't want too much landing in there. Right, in the crease was what I was meaning. Right, okay, so let's see what happens when we, I love, this is really interesting what the colour has done. So let's see what happens when we dry. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward this because no one likes to watch paint dry, or ink for that matter. So that is dry, but it's warped quite a bit, so that's okay. Now one thing I will have to keep an eye on is, particularly from the other side, is whether I need to provide any additional support for this fold here. And I'm wondering if I do that for this, do it right from now and put some tape over it. Just needs to be like washi tape. So I've got like this silver and gold one, or I have this black one. I think maybe that one there, although this one is wider. And it's just because I want to prevent anything happening down the line. So this is purely preventative and is dependent upon me being able to get this washi tape to come off the roll. Right, so where are we? There. Now this was not part of the plan, but I think is important given that I've weakened this seam and I don't know what it's going to do. And I'd rather make it look like it's a decorative element right from the word go than have to in effect ruin my designs down the track. Right, so there we go. Now we need scissors. Alright, there we go. So now I just need to very carefully, right, put you back there, and we just need to train you to fold there. Right. It's okay. I'm happy with that. I can live with that. Certainly don't mind this at all. Right, so you're out the way. You can go and hang up again. Right, so we've done this bit. So all I wanted was some kind of background here so that it wasn't completely white. And then these are some scraps of calico fabric that I dyed using my Derwent Inktense pencils, and I've got a video of this somewhere in one of my playlists because I've made a whole lot of different ones, and this was one that I really did not like. So what I've done is I've ripped it up into shreds or into strips and just, you know, torn it up, and I like it a lot better because you know, the pattern is broken up. So now I'm not going to use all of it like this. This strip I do want, but, and let's hope these scissors can cut through here. So we're going to pull that bit off and pull some more threads out. So I want that one there, and then this one is to about there. I feel so strong every time I rip fabric like that. I'm not, but I feel like it. Alright. Okay, so now we just want to pull some more bits off this end. And we'll pull some bits off this to make it look fluffy. There we go. So that's there. Then this one, I want mainly this blue patch in the middle. So we're going to do this one here. But you will go back in the stash. And we just need to pull some threads off the bottom of that, or top as it may be. Decide which way I want to put that. And then this one, we're going to go from here and some more off the bottom of here. And then we want to go to this bit here. More off the sides and more off the top. Oops, and there goes my stomach again, Googling. It just wants to make sure that it's being heard. So now all I want is those 3 patches there. So given that this looks so dark, maybe I need to put them around this way. That looks a bit better. And then I'll put them wherever I want. So what I'm going to do now is I've pulled out some embroidery threads. So I've got a yellow, I've got a burgundy, I've got a blue, and then I've got a dark brown. And don't ask me what colours they are. I can tell you the numbers, 314, and these are the DMC numbers for anyone who knows anything about embroidery thread. So 312, 314, 444, and 838. And I have had them longer than I care to admit, because A, that says how long I've been around, and B, that says how much embroidery I haven't done, because I've had them. And these are all the originals when I bought them way back. So we will put that out of the way. Now I've got some needles. Now I could keep my needles in a couple of places, but this is one of my favourites in that it's a needle holder. It's supposed to be for machine needles, but I use it for all my hand sewing needles. So I've put a selection of different needles in here. I've got my needle threaders because, yes, I'm getting old and I struggle to see the end of or get the thread through the eye. I've also got packs that I've bought over the years when I've lost this. Now I have to say, this was, I think, the first pack of needles I ever bought when I was at high school learning sewing. So I would have been about, oh no, it might have even been intermediate. So in which case I was probably about like 11 or 12. So that says a lot for how long they've lasted. Though they are looking a wee bit suspect there at the moment. Now we want something with a smallish eye, and actually those ones that were just coming out to greet me weren't too bad. Oh no, they're a bit big. I don't want anything too big. Maybe, I don't like this one as much as my other needle thingies. So if I haven't got one in here that I like, then I'm going back. But this is one of the more recent purchases. Okay, right. I think that one should do. But maybe what I'll do is have, if I get out 4 needles, I don't want them too big, so there's 3 that are a good size, and then I know, oh, that one's not too, oh, it just feels too fat in the, like the stem of the needle, so maybe I'll get 1. You can all go in there because you're annoying me. What's on this other side? Not that one, that one. That's better. That one there. So that gives me 4, so I can thread 1 with each colour. And then that way I won't have to keep rethreading. That's just clever, Paula. Now, if you're not familiar with hand sewing at all, I'll give you a few tips while we're going. So we're going to, now which thread show, well, maybe the yellow one we'll start with. And you can tuck down in there. So embroidery thread comes with, there's like on this skein there are 6 individual threads in like that. Most of the time you don't sew with all 6. In fact, most of the time I probably sew with 2. So in here we've got 2. But one thing I've learned is that you always separate them out and then put them back together to help stop them getting twisted. So that one little wee thing there is a huge help. Now when you're using one of these and it's a needle threader, and you can see there's a little wee loop there, so the loop goes through the eye of the needle, then you put your thread through, and I like to feed it as bent, like a folded in half, and then pull it through, because quite often you'll find that this end will start to split apart. So if you're using a bend, then it's much easier to control. Now what we've found is that only one bit's gone through, so let's try that again. So fold in half. It's because I'm trying to do it cack-handed. Feed you through there, and I'm also trying to do it on camera, so of course it's not going to go right. So now this time it's both threads are looped through the needle threader through here. So what I'm going to do is pull them through, and I like to hold on to here with the needle threader, and then just remove that from there. And so that way I've got both threads now threaded through my needle, through the eye of my needle. So now I'm going to, because I don't want too much bulk, well, do we want to tie a knot? Yeah, let's tie a knot. So the easiest way I've found to tie a knot is to hold on to one end here with my index finger, and then I'm going to wrap this around, so wrap the loose end of the thread around 3 or 4 times, then grip all those tying around the needle bits in one, in between the finger, the thumb and the forefinger, and then I'm going to pull my needle and I'm going to slide the thread back on itself and then pull it tight. And then what that does is it forms a knot. And then just to make sure that this is nice and tidy, I'm then going to trim very close to that knot, but not right on it. And so now I have a nice tidy knot. Right, so I will thread these other 3 needles in a minute, probably once I'm off camera. Put my threads aside and put that there. So what I'm going to start off with this. Now I'm going to do what I'm calling, because I don't know what else to call it, like some graffiti stitching. So I am just going to put my needle in anywhere and pull it through, and then pull it so that the knot is hard against the fabric. And then I'm just going to do a running stitch. So that's where I go in through the fabric and then back out. And then this is just one stitch. Pull it through. And I just need to make sure, because it's pulling all these little ends in because I'm so close to the end of the fabric. And pulling it through. So now I've got one little wee stitch there. So now the great thing about running stitch and why it's used so often is that you can go in and out multiple times on the needle at the same time. And it would, I mean, it would be, it's much easier if you're just doing something straight. But I'm doing something not straight, so I'm just going to pull this through. And there, so I've got little wee running stitches there. And so my graffiti style is that I'm just kind of following where the colour goes. And so what I'm doing is I will do my running stitch alongside that head in the same direction. So where it changes direction, that will be where I pull my thread, my needle up, and then I'll start again. And so sometimes I'm just doing one stitch at a time, and then other times I'll be able to do multiple stitches. And then when I get to the end of where I want to go, which is here on this one, I will then turn around and stretch this to make sure that all the stitches are not too tight. And then I'm going to go back, and very similar to what we do when we are sewing together or sewing signatures into a journal, I'm going to go back to where the stitch goes in or out and go back in the opposite way. So essentially I'm doing like that pamphlet binding stitch, but I'm doing it on a single piece of fabric. And let me just do this one, and then you should hopefully be able to see what I mean. So if I push this one through to the bottom there, through to the back, and I hold this up, you should now be able to see that stitching. So from this end all the way through to there is only single direction, and this bit here I've gone to here and I'm now coming back. So hopefully that makes sense. But I'm going to carry on with this sewing and my graffiti stitching, and we'll see what it ends up with before we put it in place. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but this is what I thought I would try, because I don't want anything that's too bulky, and I thought, well, this will be quite thin, so shouldn't bulk up my page too much. But I guess we will find out. So I'll be back in the blink of an eye. I have had a really relaxing afternoon listening to music and just doing my random graffiti sewing, and it has been really enjoyable. So everything is now sewn together, and hopefully you can see the stitches there. Totally random. I just kind of tried to follow the paint patches or the ink patches wherever they went, which was at times was harder than I expected, but I really love the effect that has happened, and to be honest, it's something I'm going to try again. So for now, all I'm going to do is just glue these patches on. I've kind of lined them up because I think this looks like it's almost attached here, I think, yeah, better than that way around. So it's attached there, and then there's the flow here from the blue as well. Yeah, I don't know if they were attached like that or not. Got no idea. My favourite, I think, is this part here. It just brings out that burgundy red kind of patch. Love it. I love the way it all crisscrosses here as well. So right for now, I'm going to leave those sitting there so I know where to put them. I'm using my Crafter's Choice craft glue. Whoops, knocked the table. My voice might be a wee bit harsh, a bit hoarse. I may or may not have been singing along to the music, which I had up loud. But, well, not that loud really. So now I'm just going to put, I don't want this to be too thick, and this will definitely need to be left overnight to dry, because I'm expecting the glue to go through this fabric, and so I don't want the two pages to stick together. I'm just trying to go round the edges and maybe one kind of stripe up the middle, but I don't know if that's, hopefully that's enough. Right, lay you on your side. Please don't blobble out. Well, actually no, you probably blobble out in this heat. So we want this to go kind of there. And you can see already how that glue's coming through in the patches where I've put it. Hopefully that will disappear as the glue dries. So there, I want this little wee patch here now. And this one I'll probably do just 2 stripes down the sides. I won't worry about top and bottom. And I mean, you could actually sew this onto the page, and I've thought about that. And I may do it, but at this stage I just want to glue them in place And we want this one to kind of look like it goes there. And can we unfold this edge? Maybe, maybe not. Oh, yep, there we go. Now this bottom bit's curled over. Right, so like that. But now I've got to dry my gluey fingers before I do the next bit. And luckily with this fabric you've got a bit more movement time with this glue. And now this piece, so this one took me the longest to sew because so many colours and quite intricate. And again I just did that stitch that like the pamphlet stitch that we normally do for sewing signatures in. That was all I did, just kind of like a running stitch all the way up and then back again, filling in all the gaps. So you don't need to be any kind of whiz at sewing if you want to give sewing in your journals a go. If you can sew in signatures, you can sew things like this. Alright. All you need is a needle with a slightly smaller head than what you'd normally probably use for sewing in your signatures. And some thread, and it can be like cotton thread or embroidery thread, entirely up to you. So right, that's there. Alright, like that. So we'll see how that looks when it dries, but I'm really pleased with that. So we want to do a title. So let's do it in this pen because it's on my desk. And actually, I've got a plastic, it is a slightly smaller plastic bag. I don't need one that covers the entire desktop. Now we've got that pen, or, hang on. So this one, so it's a Faber-Castell Pitt calligraphy pen in magenta. The C means it's either calligraphy or chisel top. Sorry, glue on my finger. Feels uncomfortable. Right, so this is, now where are we going? Top or bottom? I think we'll go to the top. And I haven't practiced this at all, so this will be interesting. And the title is Stitched. Okay, so we're going to write that across here. Stitched. I might go over that a second time and try not to. But how if I could actually write on top of it the same, but never mind. It's at least made it a little bit darker. Right. Stitched. Quite like that. Nice and simple. I'll need to put that in there again. And guess what? We're not going to forget to put the date in it. It's the 7th. So this is 7th of January 2024, and we get it right. Miracles never cease to amaze me. Okay, on that note, I'm going to leave this to dry. I like that. I like the way that it stands out. I'm going to have to do some more stitching, I can see. Use up some of that embroidery thread I have. Sorry, that was a sarcastic look. You're lucky you didn't see it. Okay, I will see you again back in the studio for the next prompt. Hang on, because I keep forgetting to do that too. And so back in the studio for the next prompt. Be sure to have fun. Talk to you. I'm not going to talk to you later. Well, yeah, I'll be talking. You'll be listening. But I'll see you later back in the studio. Bye for now.